The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
Feelings don't matter, so brace yourself tight. He'll lay it down heavy, he'll light up the night. No sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen closer, just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast, airways feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start as we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Mike, Tabby, Javier, Fitz, McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, the guys of the Weather Report, to Billy G, and to Walt from the B-Raw Podcast. Thank you for your continued support. It means the world to me. I really do appreciate it. All right, so we're 2 weeks into the Trump presidency, and honestly, I don't want to spend all my time harping on the political shit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the people. I'm tired of the reactions of people on social media. I'm tired of all the bullshit. But the simple fact of the matter is, the fucking left is doing everything they can to try and prevent Trump from getting anything accomplished. He's coming in just stomping along, doing, promises made, promises delivered as far as a lot of people are concerned. And realistically, I'm appreciating a lot of the aspects of things that are being done. The border's being secured. He has deployed troops to the border, the southern border of the United States. The border crossings have dropped 93% in the last 2 weeks. So, take from that what you will. Different sections of different towns are just ghost towns all of a sudden. The illegals are hiding out. They're all not going to work. We have illegals planning on having a day of unity where none of them go to work to show people what the impact of them not being there will be. And realistically, I don't have a lot of sympathy for the situation, particularly the people. We're hearing all these stories about, oh, well, he was here for 30 years and he was a husband and a father and he never, just because he was illegal. If you were here for 30 years and you didn't bother to get the fucking paperwork done you needed to do to be here legally, I don't have any sympathy for you. Breaking the law for a long time doesn't change the fact that you're breaking the fucking law. And so with all these ICE roundups and raids and people being afraid to go out in public because they're afraid they're going to get deported. Well, again, maybe you shouldn't have come here illegally in the first fucking place. Now, granted, I do have a certain degree of sympathy because getting here legally is a lot more complicated than it should be. I'm all for legal immigration. I keep saying this. I'm all for legal immigration, but we have to be vetting the people that are coming into our country. We can't just let anybody fucking come in. It can't be a free-for-all because that's how all the horrific shit that's been happening for the last couple of years that the left is doing everything in its power to pretend isn't happening. Nobody's getting raped. Violent crimes are not increasing. Everything's hunky-dory with, unicorn farts and rainbow kisses. But the reality of the matter is that's not the case. So, again, I'm all for legal immigration. I'm all for doing it the right way, and I really believe the system should be streamlined. We should have more immigration judges that are going to hear cases based on their merit so people can come here the right way and be legal citizens, pay their taxes, cut their fair share, and not be freeloading off the system. That's what myself and a lot of other people in America that have a problem with all the illegal freeloaders is exactly that. They're freeloaders. They're coming here. They're not bettering the country. They're not making things better. They're mooching off the system. They're getting free Medicare, or they're getting free food. They're getting free benefits. They're getting free cell phones. A whole lot of shit that was put in place under the last 4 years that are costing the taxpayers billions of fucking dollars. And it is what it is. And we've got these massive protests going on. There's one in Chicago a few days ago. There's one in LA. There's where they just tons of these people. And I don't fucking understand the mentality behind this bullshit. You're storming our public spaces, protesting, claiming you have a right to be here. And granted, I think a lot of these protests are also, yeah, there's probably a lot of illegals sitting there saying they have a right to be here and they don't deserve to be deported and blah, 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 blah. But there's also a lot of like liberal white kids out there doing this dumb shit too. And personally, this is just the way my brain works. All these protests have some things very similar in common. First off, you're inconveniencing everyday people. You don't win a lot of sympathy by making other people unhappy. That's not how you go about getting people on your side. You don't block freeways and traffic routes and stop people from being able to get to work or get to the hospital or get to wherever they're going on their fucking day to day by inconveniencing them and making their lives, nobody's going to say, you know what, these assholes that tied me up in traffic for 2 hours should be here. You're not going to garner any sympathy that way, you dumb fucks. Whoever's coordinating these things is not a real well-reasoned individual. And the second thing about this is you've got all these fucking people out there stomping around, waving the flags of whatever their country of origin happens to be, protesting being sent back to the country of origin. Now, again, I don't have a problem with people taking pride in their heritage and things like that. I've never been one to be like, oh, well, we shouldn't have St. Patrick's Day, or we shouldn't have Cinco de Mayo, or we shouldn't be celebrating our heritage. Beyond the fact that, anybody who's of a, white European descent is not allowed to be proud of their heritage anymore, apparently, because that makes you some sort of bad person. But if you're, more melanated, it's okay for you to be proud of your ancestry, which, foregoing the utter hypocrisy of that shit, just is fucking dumb. And whatever, I don't fucking really care because I don't live my life based on how other people view me or think of me or whatever. I don't fucking care. If I value your opinions, then what you had to say about the matter might be to me. But if I think you're coming from a place of stupidity or, this leftist woke dementia or far right dementia too, for that matter, I don't fucking care. I don't respect you and I don't value your opinion. So you can think and say whatever the fuck you want. I'm not going to give a shit. But I'm getting off track here. So all of these assholes that are shutting down freeways, shutting down thoroughways, shutting down sidewalks, blocking traffic, trying to interfere with people going about their lives to try and protest being fucking deported. Not a goddamn one of them is waving an American flag. None of them are, expressing any real desire to integrate to American culture or society. They are simply saying that being from another country apparently is so fucking great that they want to be here, living off our system. And even the people who are working, a vast majority of them send money back to where they're, coming from to either plan for their future, plan for retirement, support their families back home. But all of these things are kind of moot points because they're removing resources from our economy and transferring them to theirs. And again, the problem is they're not coming here to assimilate. They're not coming here to be part of the American culture. They're expecting the American culture to accommodate their shit that they're fleeing, basically. So if you are here as an actual asylum seeker and not somebody that's just here to take advantage of the system, you should be doing everything in your fucking power to try and represent yourself as somebody who wants to be part of this country. You shouldn't be out at a protest burning American flags because you might be getting sent home for coming here the wrong fucking way. You shouldn't be out there wrapped in the flag of the nation you identify with from where you came from because you're not fucking there anymore. If I was here as an illegal, I would be walking around in a Stars and Stripes fucking blazer and a fucking MAGA hat saying I'm, singing America the Beautiful every time I saw anybody looking at me cross-eyed. I would be doing everything in my power to try and say I love America and all the opportunities they're afforded here. Not, fuck you, I deserve this because you have to give this to me. I come here, you give me. No, that's not how it fucking works. If you want to be part of America, if you want to live in this country because it's so much better than the shithole you're trying to escape from, you need to acclimate and live as an American, not live as a whatever the fuck you came from in America. That's not, no, you aren't entitled to the rights of a citizen. You aren't entitled to the fucking benefits of being part of this country. You are here illegally. You are a fucking parasite and you need to be expelled. I mean, and realistically, that's what it boils down to in my mind. It's the attitude behind what you're doing here. It's not just, oh, well, I made it here and I deserve to be here because I made it here. I was made promises. I deserve free shit. I deserve handouts. I deserve to do whatever I want to do. I have the right to be here. No, the fuck you don't. You're not a citizen. You haven't done anything to prove you want to be a citizen other than say, I made it here and now you got it, gimme. And again, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And ultimately, it comes down to, like I said, the attitude behind it. If you think your home country is so great and everybody should be living according to the values that you held in your home country, go back to your home fucking country. But the problem is your home country is probably a shithole, or you were an utterly worthless sack of shit there, and you're going to come here and you're still going to be an utterly worthless sack of shit here, but you got a bunch of bleeding liberal motherfuckers who are going to just hand you, life on a platter because, oh my God, no human's illegal and everyone has a right to exist. Well, and yeah, that's not completely inaccurate. You do have a right to exist, but you don't have a right to have some... It's utterly frustrating to me, and the sheer stupidity of the people organizing this shit, because the people feeding this bullshit, and in a lot of ways, I actually view a huge swath of these illegals as victims in and of their own right, because they've been fed a line of horse shit by a bunch of people who, realistically, it's like the suicidal empathy of the fucking liberal white motherfuckers. It's these, I have no real struggle or strife in my life, so I have to generate bullshit to try and pretend like my life has some fucking value to it. Just smooth-brained, weak-minded, weak-willed, no fucking masculinity in the fucking males and no fucking femininity in the women, and it's just fucking pathetic, really. And you get these fucking dolts, and they feel some kind of like, oh, I'm superior, so obviously I'm doing this. Let me help all you poor fucked upon people who can't make it on your own, because without me, it's like the just most bigoted, racist, white savior bullshit. And these morons all somehow think they're better than everybody else because they are enlightened enough to think their fucking white savior bullshit is somehow making them better. It's like, oh no, we're trying to elevate all these poor fucked upon people by just handing them shit. Instead of, just letting them work for it and earn their way in life. No, we have to give them fucking, they're underprivileged. They don't have the benefit of being born white and middle class. So let's destroy the white middle class by giving it to a bunch of third world fucking refugees who didn't bother to go through the proper channels to get here, or were misled to believing that they could just show up when they wanted to, or were actually, brought in here through fucking illicit means to try and, whether it is, tilt the censuses or fuck up the voter rolls or vote illegally, because let's face it, that there's all kinds of impropriety going on in that bullshit. The fucking leftist assholes in the government have said that was the intention all along, was to make these people voting citizens just because they're here. They imported the third world. And when you import the third world, you don't elevate the importees. You drag down the place you're bringing them to. It's just cold facts. I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish the world was all rainbow and unicorn farts and happiness. But in realism, it's fucking not. That's not how reality works. You're just diluting a limited set of resources and kind of fucking everybody over. Meanwhile, the bureaucratic parasites just continue the skimming. And speaking of bureaucratic parasites, so we had the confirmation hearings this week for Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard and Robert Kennedy Jr. And, props to whoever prepped these guys for their hearings, because all three of them carried themselves, just with class. I don't know how else to put it. Realistically, just looking at the way, not only did they school the fucking parasites in Congress that are trying to grill them, the right kind of gave them softballs, as is to be expected, little soft lobs like, here, we're going to use this to drag the Democrats. We're going to use this to drag the Dems. We're going to use this to drag the Dems. But the Democrat members of the assorted panels did not conduct themselves in any sort of redeeming manner. They went writ large, just embarrassed them fucking selves. Literally, I know people who are like, oh, I've been, even after the last election, I was still, considered myself a Democrat until I saw this shit. Until they saw, Democrats trying to talk over the candidates, asking questions, then trying to force them to answer in a way they want, regardless of, how they believe or how their principles, or even when they do answers, they're trying to just, screeching and hollering and talking over people and not carrying themselves with any kind of, class or civility or anything that makes people go, yeah, you know what? That's a leader. That's somebody who should be controlling the fate of this country. Just making themselves look like asses. And, whether it's Kash Patel just flat out dragging people, like they're trying to get him to violate, confidentiality of statements he made that were sealed. And, he's not falling for that. He's not stupid. He didn't get put in that position by being dumb. And he really, I feel like he's one of those, I really can't wait for him to get confirmed so he can start just tearing apart. I mean, the guy's a fucking bulldog, and he's going to go in there and just, he's going to do some damage, and I'm looking forward to it. And, Tulsi Gabbard, she's great. She handled herself with a lot of decorum. The big thing they were trying to get her to do was say that she felt Edward Snowden was a traitor, and her response was he broke the law. Which is true. He did break the law. Is he a traitor to the ideals that this country was founded on? I really don't think so. Blowing the whistle on the federal government overreaching, spying on American citizens without warrants, collecting data they had no business fucking having. Yeah, I really don't consider that a traitorous act. Yes, it's an illegal act. I'll be the first to admit Snowden broke the law, but sometimes, our founding documents and our founding fathers said when a law is unjust, it is the duty of a free man to disobey it. And, when the government becomes corrupt and unserving to the people, it's the responsibility and the right of the people to tear it down and replace it. I mean, these were the ideals this country was founded on. And we have a deep state, bipartisan, bureaucratic machine that is doing everything it possibly can to preserve itself and to continue feeding off the population and just enriching the parasites, keeping that upper class, benefit class, the ruling class, however you want to phrase it. But at the end of the day, what it is, we've got a bunch of worthless career parasites. Being a politician was never intended to be a career in this country. There should have been term limits outlined and enshrined in the Constitution for every fucking office down to the fucking dog catcher. But, hindsight's 20/20, and I'm sure the founding fathers didn't think anybody was going to want to be a career parasite in this country because none of them were. So I really don't think the idea that this was going to become this much of a problem entered their minds. I think they thought they were, building a country for free men, and those ideals of freedom and prosperity would be what carried most of us through. And they were men who worked the land, had their farms, had their plantations, whatever it was. A lot of them, died broke trying to get this country set up. They put everything they had into trying to establish this country. They risked everything to try and build something different. And I'm sure a lot of them would be rolling over in their graves if they saw what this country has morphed into. I mean, they warned about it in the fucking founding documents and in the papers around the founding documents. And I don't know. The whole thing frustrates me. But like I said, if you haven't watched any of the confirmation hearings yet, you should really go back and check out RFK's. I mean, the part where he had Liz Warren just apocalyptically melting down, and the part where he called out Bernie for being literally the highest paid by big pharma shills in D.C. were just beautiful master classes. And, Liz just fucking melting down because she's trying to get him to commit to not ever sue big pharma and all this other ridiculous retarded shit. And, well, how do we know you're not going to take money from the pharmaceutical companies when you're out of the position? And he flat out called her out. They're a lot more likely to give you the money than me. I don't think they want to give me the money. And, and it is what it is. And like anyone else in politics, I don't agree with everything RFK says, but I'm a big fan of his whole concept of let's not have our food be fucking poison anymore. So I really hope he does get the confirmation. I know some people think he's not going to be the one getting the nod. He'll be the sacrificial, like, oh, well, we couldn't get all of them, so we got the two we wanted. And I really hope that's not the case. I want to see him get in. And the way the Democrats have been treating him have alienated a lot of the more centrist Democrats that were still hanging on to that D behind their name. And they're like, maybe I need to be independent. Maybe I need to start looking. I don't like Republicans, but I got to start looking outside of the realm because this is not what I wanted. This is not what I believe in. And these people are fucking insane. And that seems to be kind of the case. And I mean, realistically, there was so much going on this week. There was so much between, the deportations and people getting fired and people threatening not to come to work and just all these just ridiculous things going on with the hearings. And another thing that's going on is we got airliners falling out of the fucking sky. We've got plane crashes. We've got a helicopter that flew into a plane. It just all within, a couple days of Trump announcing hiring freezes for the FAA. And of course, every leftist pundit and talking head out there is trying to spin this into how all of a sudden all these plane crashes are his fault. We didn't have any plane crashes under Biden. And it's like, no, a hiring freeze that has been in place for less than 2 weeks is not the reason air traffic towers aren't properly staffed. It's not the reason that literally 1,000 competent air traffic controllers that were passed over because they didn't fit DEI quotas and went on public record as saying that I was rejected because I'm not a DEI hire. That's why there's probably short-staffed people. And air traffic controllers are not, that's a hard-ass job. It's mentally taxing. It's physically taxing. And not having the best of the best in those positions is really a terrible fucking idea. So, but we've got some really kind of sussy aircraft activity. I'm not going to launch into any of the fucking conspiracy theories behind it because that's one thing that pissed me off is everybody was too quick to jump on, all the righties were screaming, this is all because of DEI. This is why this is happening. And all the lefties are saying, well, this is because Trump froze all the federal spending. And it's like, yes, Trump issued a statement saying federal hiring and federal spending was being suspended for 90 days so they could assess where all this fucking money is going. God forbid somebody tries to be responsible with the fucking American people's money, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. The government doesn't actually produce anything. They redistribute what they take from us. And, there's still, talks about they're going to end the Department of Education. They're going to shut down this. They're going to shut down that. USAID, they're talking about putting that on the chopping block. Trump's still talking about, every now and then keeps talking about getting rid of the IRS. Oh, that would be so fucking sweet. It would be so beautiful if he got rid of that particular fucking nest of vipers or worthless parasitic sacks of shit. And I say that knowing full well I may wind up getting audited because, hey, you were bad-mouthing the fucking IRS on your little podcast with 45 listeners. But at the end of the day, go ahead, audit me. I got nothing to hide. I don't make enough money for an audit to turn up any fucking improprieties. I take the standard deduction. I don't make enough. I don't have anything to hide. I don't have any resources to hide. My living situation, realistically, I'm like one bad mistake away from fucking poverty at any given fucking time. I am one of those Americans, as much as I hate to say it, because I would like to think I'm smarter and better than everybody, or 89% of the fucking country. And honestly, it's not that I think I'm that fucking great. It's just I have that low an opinion of most of the people on this planet that, I'm one of those people. I'm one fucking emergency away from bankruptcy. I don't have thousands of dollars in the bank. I don't have, investments. My retirement plans are really fucking scant because there's a very real chance I'm just going to drop dead in a fucking kitchen somewhere. Not proud of that fact. It's not how I planned on living my life. It's not where I planned on being at this point in my life, but it's the fucking facts. And, lying about it doesn't do anybody any fucking favors. So, like I said, I'm really not too concerned about, being out here publicly making a stance that I think the fucking parasitic government needs to be fucking streamlined and cropped. And obviously I'm not alone on that because that's more or less what Trump ran on, and that's how he got elected. That's how he got the support of the libertarians that, the ones who weren't the, ideological purists who said, oh, the only way we can do this is if we keep voting for the guy who's got no fucking chance, because then we're ideologically pure, never mind fucking results. Trump has fulfilled most of his promises to the Libertarian Party. He hasn't actually put any Libertarian candidates in a cabinet position yet, but at the rate they're filling his cabinet, we'll have until fucking June before we have to really worry about the positions actually all being filled, which I might add is utter horseshit. Like, Biden's got all rubber stamped within a couple of days. I think Obama's cabinet was appointed within 9 fucking hours. So it's literally the machine fighting against the guy who's here to fucking break the machine at this point. And the Democrats are, we're not going to confirm anybody. We're going to put, these, and if they don't do what we want, we're going to stall this and we're going to do that. And It's like, fine, keep dragging your fucking feet until the recess. And then while you're on the recess, everybody's getting fucking appointed. You're not accomplishing anything other than fucking delaying the inevitable and making yourselves look bad. That's the other thing. These fucking retards, for the fact that it riles up their smooth-brained base and keeps them thinking things are going on, they don't seem to have the cognition to understand they fucking lost. They lost overwhelmingly. The only states they won were the states where they had to fucking spend 2 weeks counting votes because, again, deep blue states, you count the votes until you get the results you want, and that's when you stop. Oh, voter ID? No, that's racist. Oh, verified votes? No, that's racist. You know, again, yeah, nothing suspicious about that. There's no reason those votes should be called into question at all. Oh, 10 million voters less showed up and voted Democrat this time? Gee, yeah, nothing suspicious about that. That's obviously evidence that Trump cheated this time, not that Biden cheated last time. Oh, these smooth-brained fucks will say anything and do anything to try and convince themselves that they are still somehow morally right. And the fucking leadership of the left is no smarter than the fucking base of the left because they don't realize, again, everyone who's... and you know, with the Overton window shifting the way it has, everybody, you know, that is even semi-rational is a right-wing extremist to all the leftists, and the people who don't see themselves as right-wing by any stretch of the imagination saw themselves as left-leaning centrists or even, you know, more liberal than that, but still not as crazy as the fucking whack jobs. They're being alienated and driven away because they're seeing that their leadership has completely drank the Kool-Aid, is completely leaning into this failed and dying ideology. And you got like fucking Bernie Sanders with his millions of dollars and multiple homes out here preaching communism and without the slightest hint of irony saying he made all his money writing books about the failings of capitalism. He made his money through capitalism by bad-mouthing capitalism. He's a show commie, and actually the definition of the fucking party guys who, you know, they're the party elite and they're the ones who benefit from communism by keeping all the other people weak, stupid, and hungry. So honestly, there was a time where I thought Bernie was a decent guy, but the more I've gotten to know him, the more I've watched him, the more I've learned about him. He's a fucking scumbag. He's never had a real job. He's made millions of dollars. He's never had a job that wasn't in the fucking public sector. I mean, he's a fucking parasitic sack of shit, and he's still out here trying to stump and act like he's got some sort of moral fucking high ground. He wants to talk down to people. He wants to badmouth candidates because they don't want to toe the line and let the fucking bureaucracy exist. So, you know, frankly, fuck him and fuck 3 people that like him. I don't give a shit how you feel about it. If you don't like me, you don't want to hear me, turn the fucking thing off. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of fucking people who got rich being supposedly public servants without ever working a real day of work in their fucking lives. They make money on speaking engagements, book tours, and horse shit, kickbacks and other ridiculous horse shit that they want to try and lecture the average person about. You don't have any moral high ground. You're not somehow better than any fucking buddy. You just happen to be probably more morally bereft and willing to do what it's got to do to aggrandize and make yourself benefit. And you talk down to people like you somehow think you're fucking better than us, and you're really not. You're all worthless fucking sacks of shit who couldn't survive in the real world. If you were actually somewhere trying to do something based on merit instead of fucking echoing party lines, you'd be fucked. And I'm saying that for 90% of the fucking people in D.C. There are some people that are out there that are decent people. There are people that out there that earned their fucking way through. There are people out there that actually have morals and principles other than just doing for themselves and echoing the party line so you can get paid. Not a lot of them. There's a few. And anyway, I'm pretty much gassed at this point. Thanks for listening to another episode, guys. If you liked what you heard, leave a comment, leave a review, leave a rating. Go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com, sign up for the mailing list, interact with the show. Click the links, sign up for the Patreon, join the Discord. Come and interact, be a part of the show. Buy the merch, support your favorite creator. Or support me. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Till next time.